Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you who are watching us live on the Limitless show from whatever part of the world on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and my dearest Limitless tribe. So, today's world has become so small, everyone has come together post COVID, but one thing is there, we are constantly have struggling with our patterns of anxiety, patterns of anger, depression, maybe sleeplessness, addictions, and lot of times we do not find the answers. We keep visiting the doctors and they keep giving us maybe antidepressants, but that is not enough. That is not, you are not getting treated from the root of the problem, and that is the time we require a person like my guest today. Today I have Louise Moore with me on the show. She's from London, UK, and she's the founder of Life Matters Clinic and Life Matters Training College. She's a Harley Street Expert, which is based out of UK, and she's a highly sought after international wellness practitioner with 28 years experience in private practices, and she thoroughly believes that we need to work on all aspects of ourselves, be it mental, emotional, physical, or spiritual, to create the best foundation for healing. Lewis also she has an expert approach towards helping everyone. She has helped people from the royalties, celebrities, musicians, sports personalities, to international business leaders, families, and children. In fact, she's a lead tutor for Life Matters, and she's a professional practitioner in clinical hypnotherapy diploma and an infinity life trainer. She has written a successful parenting program funded by the UK government parenting fund, produced by and produced a number of best-selling hypnotherapy recordings, has appeared on Channel 5 TV series, The Body's Big Body Squad. She is featured on trade and national press on issues to do with hypnotherapy, such as anxiety, depression, etc. And she speaks at all the international events. So, big, with a big round of applause, let's get Louis on the show. Thank you so much, Louis. Hi, how are you?
It's wonderful to be here with you today.
Yes, absolutely. What a pleasure to have you over here.
Thank you. I'm so excited to have a conversation with you and to share with your viewers my
Yes.
journey and everything that I do. And hopefully, some of the things that I share today can be taken on board and helped and integrated into people's daily practices, maybe. That would be wonderful.
That would be. So, why don't you start with your personal journey? How has your life, how you got into so much, doing so much? You are into hypnotherapy, NLP, havening, and so much more. So, how did you, what has been the way your life has evolved?
Yes, well, from a very young age, I was drawn to want to work with people. I explored the route of nursing and then the psychology route, which fascinated me. And my first job, I was working in a specialist unit for brain injuries and epilepsy. And I met some fantastic consultants and physicians and psychologists and psychotherapists. And that was where my journey began. And I
Mm-hmm.
had a love of everything. I had a complete fascination. So I
Mm-hmm.
went on to study for 5 years in my early 20s psychotherapy. And I had my young children at that time. So it was very helpful to me as a parent, bringing up my children, beginning to understand human behavior from, when we're little children, right the way
Yes.
up to adults. And
Yes.
I really found that so amazing. And when I finished, I started a very small part-time private practice for psychotherapy. And I also worked in the community. I had some wonderful job roles along the way where I worked
Uh-huh.
with vulnerable people, families in crisis, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
But I began to realize, actually, that there was more to us than just talking therapies. We were multi-layered, and And why was it that some people seem to be able to get over their problems, but other people, no amount of talking therapy for years ever seemed to reach the core of what
Yes.
was going on? So I began to read about the subconscious mind and made the connection with the belief system and everything I'd learned in psychotherapy. And I thought, there's got to be a better way to move us forward. So I
Yes.
decided to go ahead and do my formal training in clinical hypnosis, which revolutionized the way I work. I also brought in some neuro-linguistic programming, NLP for short. And so I use those techniques together, and I started that about 17 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I built a full-time practice
Mm-hmm.
with that as my background, and along the way have added in some other modalities like the Havening technique, which I can explain a little bit more about, and breath work. Through my own health challenges, I learned and studied nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
And then I met a wonderful naturopathic doctor from America who worked with oxygen, light therapy, infrared heat therapy, and I did
Mm-hmm.
some small training there. So then had a whole package of different modalities, and that was so helpful because when my clients come to see me, I don't just hear the problem and go with one tool. I do a little bit of detective work around their history and what's been going on for them mentally, emotionally, physically, and even sometimes conversations around their spiritual and energetic beliefs. And then that begins to form a picture for me. I work quite intuitively, and then I'll go down the path that I feels right for them. So that's been my journey. And I always say that having had the privilege of working with so many people for so many years, they have taught me more than any of the education that I have
Yes,
studied.
absolutely.
You know,
I
that,
think everything remains a theory till the time you don't practically uh, undergo either the problem yourself or see the people how they are struggling and what is helping them.
yes. So I have this program that I call At Oneness. It felt right because it's about being at one with ourselves and improving in the different areas that
Hmm.
are causing the problem. But I cherry pick which parts are needed for each client. So it's not about having to do the whole program. It's just
Yes,
understanding and going in at the right levels. And, you know, I think we've had a conversation before how we're multi-layered,
yes,
and we can
yes.
go from being at that neurological level, understanding that we hold things in the amygdala, the fear center of the brain that needs to be worked with now. And we have these
Hmm.
techniques. We hold all our emotions at the subconscious level, and they say 95% of our mind is subconscious, which means we're only 5% conscious most of the time.
Yes,
And that's
yes.
where our intelligence sits. So the subconscious acts upon repetition, it acts upon habits, patterns, memories, and our core beliefs that were created more than likely before the age of 10. So we had our blueprint there before the age of 10 years old, and then life reinforces that and we act. And our mind wants to return to that unless we really work to shift the subconscious patterns and habits and new beliefs. So then we move forward, we evolve, and we've got a
So
powerful.
my next question is actually around that itself, Louise. For a normal average person, uh, I mean, now that the social media is so vibrant, they have so many places where they get to read posts from coaches like us or maybe therapists like you. So they have been hearing a lot about subconscious mind, but they frankly do not understand what exactly is subconscious mind. Could you give us some in-depth information about what is subconscious mind and why does each and every one of us carry some pattern or the other? Some people might carry the pattern of anxiety, some people of eating disorders, some of addiction. Why is it so rampant amongst every one of us? Either you are a person who's always angry, always frustrated. So what are these patterns all about, and what is the subconscious mind that you said is 95% of the whole mind?
Yes. So when we're born, we come into this unified consciousness, and then we start to separate because we're absorbing everything that's coming from how we feel internally, what we're getting from others, the communication from the mother and from others, and the environment, also the health, and everything is like a big database in the mind. And so neurologically, we're developing these neural pathways, and the subconscious is the brain at work. We can put the brain under a microscope. We can't put the thoughts under the microscope, but we know somewhere they're triggered from the neurology, coming from a higher self-awareness. That's how I see it. We have what I call the uninvited thoughts, and then we have the creative thoughts, but they're all part of somehow this big subconscious. And if you think of the iceberg effect, the part of the iceberg that's above the water is only very small in comparison to what's underneath.
Yes.
So the conscious mind is receiving information, and that's dripping down into the subconscious. But sometimes things are so powerful, either physically or emotionally, and they impact us that they bypass the conscious mind and they go directly into the depths of the subconscious. So like trauma, for instance, it's such a powerful impact that we don't have time to think about it. So it's just straight in to the subconscious.
Okay. So can trauma then be healed? I mean, can trauma be healed by working on our subconscious minds through affirmations and all these things?
We know a lot more now about trauma than we've ever known. And I think it's through the work of some amazing people in this world that we've discovered not only how we deal with things through our coping mechanisms, our thought processes, our habits and patterns in the subconscious, but we also encode things into the neurology, so into the center of the brain, which controls our autonomic nervous system. So the havening techniques, which was created by Dr. Ron Rudin, a neuroscientist in America. He studied the brain, he'd written books on the craving brain, and he was really interested in how does trauma get encoded. So through research and looking into the brain and scanning, he saw how the pathways become encoded into these receptor sites. They're like little flashing light bulbs, all the complex parts of a traumatic incident. And through what is happening at the time with our brain chemistry, they can't shut down properly because the brain cannot haven the serotonin, the oxytocin neurotransmitters that would retract these triggers, these receptors. So we can now, through a process called havening, in sometimes one session, close down these receptors. So the person can still recall the incident, but is not overwhelmed with either fear or anxiety or panic attack. They're a lot calmer. And then the way I work is to do the havening, and then we use the hypnotherapy to build up the subconscious and change the thought processes and offer new coping strategies and create new identities sometimes.
Amazing. So that means, can everyone be helped? Is it possible that there are some people in this world on whom none of these techniques work? Is there any such possibility, or it works on one and all?
Well, I believe that it can work for everybody because we're all human. We all have the same makeup. We're all born into this life with a brain and a mind, and the issues that we can have sometimes physically. But I've seen incredible changes with people, and I believe everyone can be helped. Everyone can be hypnotized because it's just a natural state. We have different brain waves. We have our beta brain wave, which is our conscious brain wave, our alpha theta brain wave, which is our trance states, moving into dream sleep, and then the the delta brainwave, which is deep sleep. Hypnosis is just guiding you into a relaxed state where we're in that alpha or bordering theta brainwaves. We are in our subconscious because we've got our eyes closed and the mind is saying we need to bring the altered state of awareness forward. So at this point, we can take on board millions of pieces of information, not just a few, like the conscious mind. We're ultra receptive. And somehow, it's very fascinating, but it works. The mind is more receptive and will listen. And then we'll start to play out these new thoughts, feelings, and behaviors as if they're already natural. So we can move people away from addictive patterns, anxiety, mental health issues, all sorts of anything and everything can be changed. Yeah.
Right. And a complete new identity can be created.
Yeah. So I've yet to see someone that can't be helped, but I always have this way of explaining it, that if you've never done it before and you don't know what to trust, just suspend your disbelief like you do when you watch a movie and you don't watch the movie thinking this isn't real. You enjoy it
Right.
and you go
You
with
just
it
enjoy
and you
it.
have a good time and you have fun with the movie. Yeah. So when you
Yes.
come to see me or a practitioner who does this similar things, suspend your disbelief, put your trust in the process and go with the flow, and you will get remarkable results.
Right. So, could you now tell us actually what exactly is hypnotherapy and how does it work?
Yes, so hypnotherapy is enjoying a relaxed session where you can either sit or lay down and you're allowing the practitioner to guide you with the sounds of their voice.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't do the type of hypnosis where one might go back into the mind and look for where the issues might
Mm-hmm.
be, because I believe that's not necessary. I know that we can create changes just by positive suggestion moving forward. So I don't need my clients to talk to me under hypnosis, even though that is possible. You can have a conversation while you're in a deep, relaxed state.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guiding them down through the brain waves, just slowing them down, slowing the breathing down, calming the physical body until we know that the subconscious altered state of awareness is present.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're putting in the powerful suggestions to help to move the client from where they are to the outcome that they wish. And that may
Mm-hmm.
happen over one or subsequent sessions, depending on what we're trying to achieve.
And how long does it take? Does it take a long, long time, lot of
No.
sittings with the hypnotherapist? And generally, how frequently do you call them? Every week, every month? How is
So
it?
I generally see people once every 7 to 10 days, unless it's a very sensitive issue that needs a little bit more intensive work that happens every now and again, then I might see someone twice a week. You know, we're together for about 45 minutes to an hour, and they would be in hypnosis for about 15 minutes. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's
Okay.
very fast, it's very effective, and it's long lasting. And when we get those changes, people don't go backwards. They continue to move forwards with their lives and change. So it's not like you have to keep coming back to the hypnotherapist.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, you are a Harley Street expert. So, what is Harley Street famous for? Because a lot of people here might not know in the audience. What is it
Yeah.
famous for?
It's a very famous area, particularly one street in central London that is well known for, firstly, its medical expertise. You've got some of the best consultants privately in the world there. So it has people flying in from all over the world, not just the UK, to visit and to attend the hospitals there and to have expert treatment. But also it's known for its top therapeutic practitioners, and there are many of us. I worked there pre-COVID for 14 years and had an amazing
Wow.
practice. I haven't yet gone back. I'm like Harley Street online around the world now because situations have changed. But we are there to reassure people that we are, top in our field. We've done the most we can to study and offer the best therapeutic processes.
So is it mostly known for the alternative healing modalities, or
Mostly,
are
I think, for medical first around the world, but a lot of people do know now, and I think alternative practices are really having their day now. We're seeing so many more people turning to alternative, and they're seeking that out. So it's something I think that's flourishing and it's growing year on year. I know from the time I was there, it had really grown.
amazing? And uh, are there, I mean, apart from the urgent medical care that is required, where we require the Western medicine, the allopaths to come into the picture, can all the other problems be? I mean, I'm talking now on a physical level. I'm talking about things like maybe rheumatoid arthritis, or I'm talking about cancers or diabetes, BP. Can all these things be taken care of by these therapies?
I think we can certainly add to someone's journey depending on the situation. I've certainly seen some remarkable healing that has taken place, not just with my own practice, but with my colleagues in similar practices and people that I have studied and have been my mentors, where someone's had a medical issue for a number of years, and once they start to do the emotional work or the mental release, that these problems go away. It's quite remarkable, even to the point where I've had clients that have been told they would never have a baby naturally, and then through this type of practice they have been able to conceive naturally. And also I've witnessed where people have had amputation and been in acute pain and on medication, and then we've done hypnosis and 30 years of pain has disappeared in 2 sessions. I mean, it's quite remarkable. So I've witnessed a lot of different things, quite miraculous things in my time. So I never say never, but I think it's always very nice to have that combination.
Right. Does the person need to be open? What about disbelievers? In case, as you said in the beginning, at least you can enjoy. But
Yes.
if the person is really having in mind that no, 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 all these alternative healing therapies are just fake, they don't help. So if they come from that place of disbelief, how what's the guarantee it will work on them?
It's interesting because I have had some people that have been encouraged to come to see me by, I'm thinking of someone who was a celebrity who was struggling with something and they needed to travel, and they weren't in a very good place, and so their agent insisted that they came to see me, and it wasn't the person's decision themselves, and they actually made it quite apparent that they didn't believe in this type of thing, and then enjoyed the session so much and had some amazing results that they couldn't quite believe it was possible, so they were converted. Whereas sometimes I've witnessed a lot of resistance and from control, a place of control, where someone can't really let go and relax, and so that can be a little bit defensive. But I think through discussion and talking and, again, suspending belief, people come through that and
Mhm.
can see results.
Wonderful. So you also shared about the havening practice, where you said sometimes the trauma goes deep down, even crosses, I mean, directly goes down to the subconscious, and uh, maybe sometimes at that point of time, hypnotherapy might not be enough, and you use havening techniques.
Yes.
So could you tell a little more about havening? And I think I've heard you talk about self havening, that people can, on a very not a very deep level, but at least on the surface level, they can practice and in their day-to-day lives. Could you share that with us?
Absolutely. So we know now that trauma affects directly the brain and is encoded into the amygdala of the brain. And that's where we store most of our challenging memories, our fearful memories.
Right.
Otherwise, we store the other memories in the hippocampus, which is the normal area to store the memories. So with havening, it is this way of changing through this psychosensory technique, and I'll demonstrate to you. The havening touch is where we use this action. So we're using our hands and our
Just.
arms, and it's used through light clothing or on bare arms, because we've got many hundreds of thousands of nerve endings, and our arms, palms of our hands and our face are very sensitive. And when we sit and do the havening for 5, 10, 15 minutes, through the science.
Okay, so you just keep doing this?
Yes.
And on your face as well?
Yes. It's very relaxing. You actually do feel like you're giving yourself a little bit of a hug and you're calm. Right. And what's happening at the time is that the brain is changing. So it's slowing the brain waves down into more of what we see as the sleep waves, the delta wave. Then the delta wave releases GABA from the brainstem, and that triggers the flood of serotonin and oxytocin. So you automatically start to feel a lot calmer.
Are you supposed to say something as well, or you just kind of...
With a normal havening session, at the beginning, I would ask the client, they don't even have to tell me to think about the trauma, just for 30 seconds, no more than a minute, and that lights up the receptors. Then I immediately distract the brain with some tasks, because we know through research that if the brain is involved in a task, it can't be in an emotional state. So this means that the session for the client is comfortable. They're not going to be traumatized by the session, because nobody wants to relive that. I promise them 30 seconds to a minute. Once they feel they've got that emotion, they open their eyes, and then we go straight into the havening. It's just flooding the brain with serotonin. It's making them feel very calm and relaxed, but it's washing over the receptors that have been lit up, and it's retracting them, shutting them down, so that they don't in the future have to feel the same way about those post-traumatic memories. They're not getting the flashbacks. They're not getting the overwhelming panic or fear. Sometimes there's so many complex parts to a trauma that there can be certain triggers, like a sound, a smell, a temperature, a person, a place. Yeah? So we're helping the memory of that to soothe. And we rate it at the beginning on a SUD scale. So I asked them at the beginning, out of 0 to 10, if 10's the worst, how does that feel for you, remembering that? And then right at the very end of the havening session, we'll go back again and ask the same question, go back into the memory. And it's like magic, because they're mystified where they can't access it. They just can't feel it in the same way.
Right. Wow. So it works like magic.
Yes. And I always like to do a little bit of positive hypnosis at the end, just to really bring the mindset up.
Right. Right.
Very lovely.
Right. So I think, to the audience, I want to just say that you can try this havening technique where I think if you're feeling anxiety, do you say anxiety?
Yes. So if you're feeling any emotions that are negative for you in the course of your day, you can just sit for 5-10 minutes and just very gently do the self-havening. And if you want, either out loud or in your head, you can use the word that you want to get rid of, the emotion you want to get rid of, by saying anxious, 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 angry, angry, frustrated, or sad, upset. Right. And then when you feel like the word's losing its power, you just suddenly don't feel that way anymore. You reverse it and you say, I'm calm, I'm content, I'm peaceful, I'm relaxed. And sure enough, you start to feel that way. And it's like ripples on the pond. You're letting that emotion transpire away from you, but you're actually
Yes.
physically doing something to make that happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when do you do it on your face? I mean, once you're done
Whenever
with your
you like,
hands.
whenever you like, you can do the arms, you can do the face, you can just sit and do the hands. If you're say you're at work and you think I can't sit in the office doing this, it's a bit inappropriate. So you can just sit with your hands or under the desk, and you can say the words in your head, and you're just letting it go. It's really
Right.
letting it go. It's very good late at night if you've had a stressful day and you're struggling to shut off or go to sleep, because it is
Yes.
bringing the delta wave. So it really helps to sleep. It's
Yes.
really good for children. If your parents out there and you've got fractious, upset children, or they're worried or upset, you just haven them.
Yes.
Sit and haven them and tell them, imagine putting those feelings in a red balloon and just watching them go. And then what other feelings should we bring in? The sun's coming out. Let's bring in some nice feelings. It's really lovely with children.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing this. So, Louis, you also do a lot of other, like the I think the light therapy, and then you also tackle things with nutrition. So how do these things come into the picture? What part of the pattern change do they help in?
So it's really good if someone's coming to me that might have addictions, they might have obesity, they might have been recovering from a chronic illness.
Mm-hmm.
And really, the body's just out of balance, because I see everything like an orchestra. So sometimes the anxiety leads to the vagus nerve being interrupted. So then you get digestive issues and breathing issues, and your oxygen levels are dropping, and your immune system is under stress and pressure. So your optimal nutritional status is low. So I just feel that I've got enough knowledge to assist the body in healing. So the mind and body can work together. So
Mm-hmm.
it's understanding why oxygen is so important at the cellular level, as well as good nutrition to
Amazing.
support disease and healing. And if you've been in
Yes.
a highly stressed state for a long time, why
Mm-hmm.
you will struggle the other side, and that you've got to build yourself back up. So being able to give that advice is really important, I think.
Great. So, what is now psychotherapy? I think even because you have different modules which you kind of bring together and you use whatever is relevant. So, where does that help?
The psychotherapy is helpful to it's like being a detective from the early years, because obviously things come through us generationally through life.
Mm-hmm.
So I trained in Adlerian psychotherapy. He was a man called Alfred Adler, who was around at the time of Freud and Jung. In fact, they knew each other. Alfred Adler was the man that coined the phrase the inferiority complex.
Okay,
And
I
it's
didn't know about this. Huh.
priorities of behavior, and
Mm-hmm.
how our early memories and feelings set up
Mm-hmm.
beliefs around how we need to behave, and that we develop our lead priorities of behavior according to our greatest fears. And so by talking with a client around the early years, um, the family tree, the atmosphere in the family, the early memories, you the priorities behavior, you begin to form a picture. And that information is valuable, because then if there are the blocks coming up and we see this is why someone isn't coping with the situation that they're in life, then we can use the hypnosis to reframe the beliefs and the priorities of mistaken behaviors to then get the outcome that the client wants, that we need to change.
Mm-hmm.
So it's crucial to be able to understand those early formative years. And then, if you've had traumas early on, you develop those stressful landscapes that lead to the client self-soothing with addictions. And so you make the connections and then able to build the journey forward.
If I'm not wrong, Louis, some of the patterns are, I mean, generally what we hear is, of course, that a child develops all the patterns from the time of his birth, his or her birth, to about 7 years. But aren't there patterns that they carry from their old lives, their past lives? They already carry it in themselves. Have you come across these things?
Well, I became fascinated with past life regression when I did my hypnosis training. It wasn't part of my formal clinical training, but we were taught about it. And at the time, I wasn't sure about what I truly believed, but I
Mm-hmm.
started to research and read books and follow some very clever people in the field. Like there's an American psychiatrist, Brian Weiss, who did some amazing hypnosis work. And he stumbled by accident with one of his clients where he asked her to regress into childhood and see if that helped her, because she'd had years of mental illness and she was making no improvements. And she started to talk about this life vividly, and he realized that this was not relating at all to the life that she was living now. And he realized that it could be a past life. And so he kept revisiting this line of work with her, and she began to heal, and she completely healed. And then he wrote a book, Many Lives, Many Masters, which I became fascinated with. I also watched some interesting documentaries with children that have memories coming through that seem to bleed through from some past life, where they talk about another mother or a place where they've lived and a time before. And then in this documentary, I can remember this little boy talking about his Barra mummy, and Barra was his home, and they discovered that there's Barra Island up in the Hebrides in Scotland, and
Mm-hmm.
they flew the family there, and this little boy was actually able to identify names and places, and it was very real. And so who are we to think that it's not possible, that we've lived before, that we've had other lives, and that our souls have been on these journeys? And definitely would not dispute that now. It's part
Yes,
of my
because
journey into
Mhm.
spirituality and where that takes us.
Yes, yes. Because whenever I hear that, all the patterns and habits and thoughts and beliefs are formed early on in the childhood, I sometimes feel that, yes, of course, it is majorly formed in the childhood, but I think we do carry some patterns from our previous lives as well. Not everything 100% is formed in the childhood. Some baggage is carried from earlier.
Yes, it's interesting sometimes with illnesses that play out, or pain in the body, that people have recounted when they've done past life regression, that it's disappeared after they've somehow
After doing the regression.
they've re- they've regressed and they've released something. So it's fascinating, fascinating topic.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, this show, I mean, the name of the show is Limitless Show, and I truly believe in the limitlessness of a human being. And it really fascinates me, Louis,
Mm.
that a human being, all of us, each one of us, is capable of achieving whatever we want to achieve. There is absolutely no limit to that. Do you believe in the same? And if you do, then who, according to you, is truly limitless?
I do believe that there's so much more to us, and I know that we create from our subconscious mind, and that I've seen this happen thousands of times with my clients, where you create new visualizations of themselves performing better at something, creating new lives, that these things start to happen and people start to change. So I think we are limitless. I think that, our beliefs box us in to what I call the comfort zone. And somehow
Mm-hmm.
we've learned to believe that it's a bit fearful out there, but I see that as the adventure zone, and anything can happen. And if you just hold that as a mantra for yourself every day, that things are coming to me and things are working out for me, and we do shift. I work a lot in performance. I've worked particularly with
With
sport
sports people, yes.
professionals, and they're already very good at what they do, but somehow they can't get to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
So we do the hypnosis and we see them winning, and we get the feelings and the emotions, and they're there as if it's happening. And then the very next time they are out there performing, they've crossed that boundary and they're doing really, really well, so much better than they were before. I've seen it where people have had an amazing skill. Like I worked with a young opera singer who had a beautiful talent. And they said, actually, it was working with her from the Royal Opera House team in London. And they said she was world class in her potential, but she just didn't believe in herself. She couldn't get past that hurdle. So we
Mm-hmm.
used lots of hypnotherapy together, and imagining that she was this amazing, beautiful, successful singer, and she went from strength to strength. I've done lots of performance work, and so I know that shows me that even when there's not a psychological problem, but there seems to be a barrier.
Mm-hmm.
We
Yes, yes, absolutely. We might be having so much of potential, but if we don't believe in ourselves, we can never become
Yes.
limitless.
And it's very good to work with people when they're entrepreneurs, they're moving forward with their career, or they want to create a different life for themselves, that to help them to really focus in and visualize, see, sense and feel what that's like, give it to the subconscious. Then
Yes.
we see changes. And I've used this with myself all my life, and it's served me well. So
That's so beautiful. So then, I mean, if I ask you, what are the things anyone can do? What do you think are top 4 5 things that anyone can do in their lives with discipline and consistency to become limitless? What would be those top 4 5 things?
I think it's firstly to know that we can change, to understand that we can change, and that we don't just have to accept where we are at.
Yes.
Yeah. And to do the work on ourselves. So, don't put everything else in life in the way at the cost of yourself, because you are important. You've got to show up for yourself, and really, instead of just doing all the other habits every day, go to work on the mind. So do something every day to just connect in with your thoughts, your feelings. If it's a mantra, if it's a meditation, a yoga session, whatever it is, do something for yourself that makes you feel better, that improves yourself.
Right. What
Yeah.
else?
Yes. Work on your well-being, look after yourself physically. Don't neglect yourself. So make sure you do the best to get a good night's sleep. Make sure you give yourself some quality nutrition. There's so much on offer to us in this day and age, but it doesn't mean to say it's all good for us.
Yes.
Have that 80-20 rule that says, feed your body with natural nutrition 80% of the time, and then that
Yes.
extra will not hurt you. But if it's
It will
the other
not hurt you.
way around, then you're going to have consequences.
Yes. Yes. Totally. Totally agree.
And understand what's toxic, from being physically toxic to emotionally toxic. You know, we have to detox ourselves. And so give yourself some space and just be still with yourself, because there's so much noise. We haven't evolved. We're at a tipping point. I think you agree with me in the level of consciousness of ourselves,
Yes.
planet. And
Yes.
we're going through the next stage of evolution where we're bombarded by electromagnetic frequencies.
Yes.
You know, we have pressures on ourselves individually, our careers, our families. We're trying to combine so much in our lives that we forget to just be quiet and still and come back to
Yes.
nature and nurture and breathe and just let go sometimes. So I think that's really important, just to find yourself and let go
Yes.
and do what matters. And then, depending on your beliefs, you know, some people have their religions, some people are very spiritual, some people just believe in their own higher self and consciousness. But I think it's important to connect in on that level, because there is so much more to us. We are energy.
Yes. We
We
are
have,
energy.
you know, we have our physical body and we have our mind. We also
Yes.
have our energy body,
Yes.
and we carry our energies around, and we tap into the frequencies of the earth, the universe, the planetary frequencies. We know that the body is affected by the moon cycles. Every thought we have has a frequency that generates, it can sit in our
Yes.
cellular level,
Yes.
our chakra energies, you know, our heart-centered energies, our communication, our higher self, our grounded, rooted energies. We have to work with them.
Yes.
And this, not everybody understands. So it's good to understand and begin to feel it. This is the work of Infinity Life, that I'm a trainer for this amazing new program that's is globally available to everyone. And it was brought together by a group of wonderful people that are experts in this field, and I'm fortunate to know them and have been working to bring Infinity Life out to the world. And it's a healing program. It's an 8-week program to work on our frequencies and heal our core wounds that we carry around and our unmet needs. And so we use the modality by connecting into the universal earth energies every
Mm-hmm.
day. We use the wonderful work of Dr. David Hawkins and his level of consciousness frequency.
Okay.
We know
Mm-hmm.
each emotion has a frequency. So if you're in the emotion of fear, that the frequency is below 100 hertz, whereas
Yes.
the level of love is at 500. They know
Right.
DNA change and healing above 528. And then obviously we go all the way up to enlightenment, and we know that, you know, you've got that higher level of consciousness. But this is where mental, emotional, and physical healings are taking place. So I found it really fascinating. It's been my latest study into energy work at the etheric field in the body, the emotions, the thoughts, the heart energy. We know, don't we? We walk into a room and you can sense someone's energy. They don't even have to see it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Either you get repelled by it or you get fascinated or attracted by someone.
Yes.
That happens. That really happens.
So Infinity Life is there as a grassroots foundation to help people to heal themselves through releasing the core wounds that are residing somewhere in our energy fields,
Mm-hmm.
bring in all and manifest all the abundance of health and wealth and, you know,
Career, relationships,
everything.
everything.
Yes,
Everything.
everything. And it
Yes.
truly has been remarkable. We've got some amazing testimonials, and we run different cohort groups all the time. And we have people online from different countries around the world, very heart-centered. It's a beautiful community that's growing, helping each other. So I love
So
it
beautiful.
so
So
much.
basically, the program is all about raising your vibrations and then raising your consciousness.
Yes. So you work with the individual, your own consciousness, that raises the collective, because we know that if we're vibrating at a high level, that's going to impact on everyone and everything around us.
Everyone around us. Even one thought that we put out in the universe affects everyone around us,
And we need
all of
this
the universe.
now. We need it now more than ever after what we've been
More
through.
than ever. I totally agree. So, how can people get the idea for the infinity life? I mean, I know I have put it in the descriptions. Any other place? I mean, it's a part of your website, lifematters.com. I
Yes,
think,
so if they come to lifemattersgroup.com and look at training, they'll in
right.
the top down bar you'll see Infinity Life course,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
also the hypnotherapy training course that I offer as well. So yes, if anyone's interested in Infinity Life, we do regular little free webinars to come and meet us and have a chat and experience, a meditation, what it will be like, and talk about the process. So yeah, it's very new, but it's very beautiful.
Hmm. Right. So wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm sure people are listening to us. And if anyone is interested, they can always check out the website. It's in the description. You can see it there and you can go and get in touch. So I think, why don't you go ahead and help the people with some of the energy work that you do with them. It will be so beneficial to them.
We could do a little connecting into the earth and the universal energies. And what I'd like you to think about while we do this, just for a couple of minutes, is if you're holding on to any negative energy, either
Mm-hmm.
from a mental, emotional, or physical issue, I want you to think about where that sits with you in your body or in your mind. And as we go through the process and I'm bringing in those energies, you can just let them go. And you can
Right.
visualize that in any way you want. So I like to visualize the energies as like waterfalls of light and washing
Yes.
away the negativity as if they're like bubbles of energy just disappearing.
Sure.
I'm just going to invite everybody to sit back and relax, and you can close your eyes if you choose, and just
Yes.
be guided for a few minutes by the sounds of my voice.
Yeah. Sure.
And just allow all other sounds that might be around you to be there, but very much in the background. They're unimportant to your mind right now. Take this time for yourself. I want you to imagine that you're putting your attention on the crown of your head. And from the crown of your head is a beautiful column of light going all the way up through the place where you are sitting. So through the roof of the building and out into the open air. And I want you to imagine that that column of light continues to go all the way up into the atmosphere, above all the noise, all the frequencies that are on our planet. And as you tap into that energy, you become an extension of the universal source of energy. It's like you're plugging yourself into that infinite source. And maybe just for a moment, you're rising up through that column of light and absorbing all that wonderful energy. And as you come down with each outward breath, you're bringing down that energy into the crown of your head. This is connecting to that universe, your higher self. Allow it to expand and wash away any blocks or resistance that might be there. Allow this energy to continue to flow down into your forehead. Allow it to connect with all your senses, your ears, your eyes, your nose and mouth, your intuition. Let it expand as if you are now inside this column of light that's surrounding you as it travels down around your body. You feel calm and peaceful, very relaxed. each gentle breath, let the light expand in that area of your throat. This is your area of communication. If you have not been able to express yourself in any way, if there are any blocks or resistance, just imagine them dissolving as the light washes them away. Allow this energy to flow down and fill your heart center. Feel yourself so calm and peaceful as this energy reaches your heart. Allow this energy to continue to flow down through your body and all around you. Imagine it flowing down through the center of self, your solar plexus, through the sacral and into your root energy at the base of your spine, grounding you, feeling safe and calm and relaxed. Imagine this column of light from your feet going down into the earth's energies. Imagine that light from the earth like a warm, glowing pink light coming up with each breath. And as it rises up, it meets the universal energies in your heart center. And like a ball of sunlight, radiates out of you. And I want you to imagine now that you can expand your energies and fill the room where you're sitting. And you begin to sense that you're more than the physical, and that you're more than your mind. You are pure energy, love and light and energy. And if there is anything anywhere within you that you wish to let go of and surrender, you can do so now. Maybe you have a little mantra in your mind that you want to say to yourself, to give yourself permission to let go. And you know that you can send this energy wherever you choose, far and wide, and feel it flowing back to you. You feel all the love, the world around you, the universe, those that are significant to you. Just allow this energy as much as you need to stay with you for the days ahead, and know that you can come back to it at any time and reconnect, because you are the extension of these source energies. And feel your energy levels rising up, that feeling of love and above, feeling happier, feeling grateful, joyful. So in a moment, I'm going to ask you to open your eyes, to connect back into where you are in the here and now. Feeling good. And just opening your eyes now. There we go.
Feels so great.
Good. It's just a little exercise that you can do for self-practice. It's just a small part of the infinity process, but we encourage people to be able to connect in on a daily basis. Just change your frequencies, change your mood, feel lighter,
Yes,
healthier. So.
absolutely, absolutely. And it is great. Instantly, I feel so relaxed and so calm.
Lovely.
Thank
Great.
you so much, Louis, and for all the time and so much of wisdom that you
Oh,
shared
thank
with us.
you. I absolutely love talking with you. It's
Same here. And any last message before you leave us for the day? Any last message that you have for all the people watching you?
I hope that some part of what I've been able to share today will help, make a difference, make you think, and that you can take forward some of these ideas, and that they will help to move you forward in life. And if I can help in any way, I'm here in the UK, but I am online with either my practice work or my training and teachings. So do reach out to me. I love to hear from everybody, and I will always get back to you. So anything I can do, reach out.
Yes, absolutely. Please do that. And she is very much reachable through her website or even LinkedIn. She
Yeah,
is present on LinkedIn. You can DM her or get in touch through the website. Great. Thank you
lovely.
so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye. Hey people, so I hope you enjoyed the meditation as much as I did. I'm feeling already so calm and relaxed. I'm sure you can already see it on my face. So you can practice this, you can practice the self havening, which she shared with us. It was so generous of her to actually share these small practices, which, if done consistently, I think can really give you some good results. And if you have some acute issues, you can always get directly in touch with her and she can help you further. So that's about it for now. And next week, we'll meet again with another phenomenal guest. And I want you guys to write in comments if you are looking forward to meeting guests from some particular fields. I would be more than glad to get in touch with them and get them on the show. So do let me know what kind of fields are you looking at or what kind of discussions do you want me to have with our guests, and I would definitely bring them on the show. So to your limitlessness, take care, God bless. Good night. Bye bye.